Hello everybody, welcome to this new episode of Books Up Close. My name is Chris Lloyd. I hope you are doing well, staying healthy. So today we are looking at Imogen Binnie's 2013 novel Nevada. Now this novel was originally published by a kind of indie trans publisher called Topside Press, but has recently been reissued in the UK by Picador. So I thought I'd take the time now to review it, given that it's now quite widely available. Various people have called this novel the kind of origin of like the contemporary trans novel or contemporary trans fiction, though, you know, we could go back in time and put other starting points there. But this is a novel that really did take off, that circulated in queer and trans circles, and I'm really, really happy that now it's kind of reaching a wider audience. The book at first glance seems to borrow from kind of traditional American novel structures of the kind of drive west, this kind of escape from daily life. So the novel follows Maria, who is a kind of like punky trans woman living in New York. And as the novel opens, her girlfriend, who she's not completely infatuated with, but the girlfriend says she's had an affair. And Maria then wants to kind of break up with her, but doesn't know how to. And they kind of go back and forth. You find out that the girlfriend hasn't been having an affair and so on. But we realize that Maria is stuck in a moment in her life and she doesn't really know what to do about that. She works at a bookstore, men keep hitting on her, she's not thriving in life in any particular kind of way. And because the novel is written in this really close, intense narrative voice, we hear kind of all of her thoughts. It's not quite stream of consciousness, but it is kind of written in this kind of colloquial, intimate voice where we hear the ums and the buts and the of courses that really make it feel like we're hearing her thoughts, her inner life. There's references to pop culture and theory, all kinds of things. It's a kind of mishmash of voice and tone, which I really love. It's so accessible and you get into it really quickly. So as she's kind of going through this turmoil and turbulence, one day she decides to steal her girlfriend's car, load it with various drugs, and she kind of goes off on the road. She's like, I'm just going to drive west, right? So it really plays into this canonical American story of kind of riding out westwards into the distance. And then the novel breaks, and halfway through it switches perspective entirely. And this jump cut, if you like, to talk about it in kind of filmic terms, it feels like a jump cut. It's very jarring. It kind of, you're like, wait, what? It focuses on a guy called James who's living in a small kind of town in Nevada, kind of like a suburb outside Reno, I think it is. And he's living a kind of boring life, living, you know, in a kind of dead-end job that he doesn't love, a girlfriend who he likes, but he's secretly watching kind of trans porn, and he's just kind of unsure of his identity, basically. And we get quite a few chapters of him. You think at first, oh, him and Maria are going to intersect quite quickly, but it takes a while. So the novel has already kind of sideswiped us a little bit. The first half, it takes quite a bit of the novel for Maria to actually leave, to drive out west. The novel's called Nevada, right? You assume that's where the majority of the action's going to take place, or at least her on the road, but it's not. Lots of it is in New York. Then suddenly she drives off, then there's a sudden cut and we're there in Nevada. So already the book is kind of pushing back against the expectations it's setting up for us. But then they do meet. So Maria and James meet, and because we're kind of delving into their consciousnesses, we're getting their thoughts about each other, how they feel about one another. James is kind of confused, like, why is this woman who I think might be trans, but I don't know, why is she talking to me? She's similarly thinking, like, who is this guy? Why is he so uncomfortable in his skin? And they kind of get something out of each other, right? They kind of form this strange bond, alliance. Maria assumes that James is trans and doesn't know it yet or hasn't worked through those thoughts. But really they're kind of projecting onto each other different things about, they're kind of, you know, partly their own unstable identities they're kind of projecting onto one another, but also they're in this place where, like, do I know this person? Can I trust this person? What do I reveal to this person? And from that point on, I don't really want to say what happens too much, mainly because I don't want to spoil it. But there are some interesting kind of plot points, and you think, are they going to kind of run off into the distance? Not together as like a couple, but are they going to both abandon their lives? And then something happens and the novel ends, and I can't discuss the ending in this video because I will spoil it, but if you've read the ending, please get in touch with me somehow. Don't put it in the comments and spoil it, but let me know what you think, because the ending threw me off. I was so confused that that's how the book ends. For a while I was angry, From then, I kind of, after a beat, I thought, oh my God, this is a perfect ending. And then it's still kind of lingering with me about how this book ends, why it ends in that way, like what Binnie is doing there, like what she's giving us or not giving us in that ending is really striking. But in general, it's a wonderful novel. It's so easy to read, to get into. It's thoughtful, it's funny, it's nuanced. It doesn't kind of hammer home any particular point. It kind of wears its thinking quite lightly. I really like that. But it's just so accessible. You can just get into it, and it's quite darkly funny in places. There's a wonderful interview with Binnie, if you want to look it up, on a podcast called Gender Reveal, which I thoroughly recommend. It's about transness, gender experience across the board, and the interviewer talks to a whole range of people. It's a wonderful, wonderful podcast, and there's a great interview with Binnie recently where they talk through the kind of origin of the book and its kind of afterlife, and Binnie's kind of recent work, kind of doing TV writing and other things. So if you are a fan of more recent books like Detransition Baby by Tori Peters, review up there, Andrea Lawler's Paul Takes the Form of a Mortal Girl, for example, any of those recent trans novels that are thinking through gender and sexuality, go back to this one too. I think this is a real precursor to those and does really interesting things and kind of paves the way for newer authors. But yeah, it's fantastic, readable, highly recommend it. Do let me know if you've read it down below. As ever, please like this video, please subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and leave comments below. Did you like the book? Did you hate the book? What else are you reading? Tell me things below. And until the next review, stay well, stay healthy, keep reading, and see you soon.